Good afternoon to you all. Once again, I welcome you to Dabajulo Patente. Today, our topic will be topics are going to be Autostrade and Strade Extraurbane, and these are motorways and extra-urban ways. And before going ahead, I will remind you again to subscribe to the channel if you are watching, and try to share as much as you can so that many people will be aware about the lessons, those that are in need for help, let's say explanation. Let's see the definitions. When we say la strada extraurbana principale è una strada a carreggiata indipendenti o separate da spartitraffico, ciascuna almeno con due corsie di marcia. It says when you hear about extra-urban roadways, when we say extra-urban ways, these are roads that will link two cities, or let's say two cities, and they are not motorways. Because when you talk about urban roads, these are the roads that you will find inside the city, okay? It says when you hear about extra-urban roads, these are roads with an independent runway, okay, or either one road with separated by a traffic island, okay. When we say traffic island, in the picture you can see a ring. This seems to be in a metal. Some are in concrete form, but it's very rare. Now concretes are being substituted by these metal rings to reduce, let's say, damage in case of accident. It says, furthermore, inoltre, è contraddistinta da appositi cartelli stradali di inizio e fine. Anywhere you found an extra-urban road, it is usually indicated by a special, let's say, boards that will indicate the starting and the end. Si possono trovare intersezioni o incroci a livelli sfalsati ma non a raso. You could find intersections or junctions at, let's say, overlapping levels. These are, let's say, intersections whereby you will find at a junction one runway will be higher and the other one will be under, to avoid direct contact with other vehicles that are meeting at that point. This is for safety. But you will never find junctions like you found on traffic lights. No. On the same level, no, it's not possible. È prevista di corsie di accelerazione e di deaccelerazione per ingresso e uscita dei veicoli e di apposite aree di sosta. It is you will find accelerating lanes and deaccelerating lanes too, and you will find, let's say, areas for stoppings in case of illness or damage on vehicle. Possono circolare solo alcune categorie di veicoli a motore, non possono entrarvi biciclette, ciclomotori e quadricicli leggeri. Certain categories of vehicles could ply on these roads. Vehicles that are not allowed to enter these roads are bicycles, motorcycles, and even quadricycles, light quadricycles. Il limite massimo generale di velocità è di 110 km/h. The speed limit is 110 km/h. La segnaletica è di colore blu. The signpost or the signal board that you will find there will always be in a blue color. Non è vero che non vi sono curve né dossi. it is never true that you will not find bendings or, let's say, doses whereby let's say upliftments. That means it is not true that you will find a straight road or leveled. That is not true. Autostrada, motorways. L'autostrada è una strada a carreggiate indipendenti o separate da parte traffico. When you talk about motorway, this could be an independent road. That means when we talk about independent, we mean the same heading. For example, when you are heading into this direction, my direction, only cars that are moving into that direction will be flying on that road, and you'll have another road attached to it that will be using another, let's say, the opposite direction. It is either in that way or only one big road separated by a traffic island. Okay, that is what it means. And they will have at least 2 lanes for every heading direction. Okay, at least 2 lanes. That will be, one will be used for surpassing, overtaking, and the other would be used as normal travel lane. And there would be corsia emergency lanes too. Emergency lanes are usually always free. You don't apply on them. If you found driving on emergency lanes without an emergency issue, you could be sanctioned for that. Inoltre è contraddistinta da appositi cartelli stradali di inizio e di fine. It says moreover, it is usually identified by signposts, boards that will indicate the starting of that kind of roads and the ending too. Si possono trovare intersezioni o incroci a livelli sfalsati, ma non a raso. You could find intersections or junctions, but at overlapping levels. They will never be on the same level, whereby you will find a traffic light to regulate the influx of vehicles. No, it's not possible. You found them on different levels. È prevista di corsia di accelerazione e deaccelerazione per ingresso e l'uscita dei veicoli. You will also find an accelerating lanes and deaccelerating lanes to facilitate the exit and the coming in of vehicles. Possono circolare solo alcune categorie di veicoli a motori. Only certain categories of vehicles could fly on these roads. È priva di accessi privati. It is the private access. Deve essere recintata lateralmente. It has to be fenced laterally. This is for their security, I'm sure, because these autostrada motorways are usually paid, because you will have an entrance and the exit. At the entrance, you will take a ticket that will show you where exactly you started your journey on these roads, and the exit, and a calculation will be done by these machines, and then you will be asked to pay the amount of the kilometers that you use on the road, obviously. Il limite massimo generale di velocità è di 130 km all'ora. The speed limit, maximum velocity limit, is 130 km per hour. La segnaletica è di colore verde. The signal or the signposts are in green color. Sono esclusi alla circolazione in autostrada. These are excluded for driving on motorways. Autovetture che non sono in grado di sviluppare una velocità di almeno 80 km all'ora. Vehicles that are not that cannot let's say, develop a maximum speed of 80 kilometers per hour cannot be driven on motorways. Veicoli con carico non opportunamente sistemato e fissato con carico di materiale sciolto e scoperto che può disperdersi. It says vehicles that are loaded with material that are not properly systemed, that are not properly meted on that vehicle, and they could be materials that could dissolve, or let's say that could just be scattered, are not allowed to move. So anytime you load a vehicle, be very much careful to organize it in a way that it will not move along the journey, and everything should be fixed in a proper way to avoid anything flying from the vehicle. Ok, veicoli non in regola con la prescritta revisione o in cattive condizioni di uso di equipaggiamento o di gommatura, ad esempio pneumatici consumati, indicatori di direzione guasti. Vehicles that have not undergone their revision, that is periodically done, or let's say vehicles that are not in a good shape, or let's say with improper equipment, for example like tires that are let's say consumed, or without a proper light proper indicators, okay, that these will be signals that will show you, for example, when one intended to bend on the right or on the left, to indicate to those that are following, so that they will pay attention. Ciclomotori, motorcycles are not allowed, okay. Motocicli di cilindrata inferiori a 150 cm3. Motorcycles that have a cylinder inferior to 150 cm3. These are vehicles that cannot be accelerated up to 80 km per hour, so they are not allowed on motorways. In Autostrade è vietato. It says in motorways it is forbidden, strictly forbidden for that matter, invertire il senso di marcia, like taking a U-turn. It is not allowed. Fermarsi salvo casi di necessità, malessere o grave guasto del veicolo sulla corsia di emergenza per un massimo di 3 ore. Okay, it is forbidden to stop only if there is a serious necessity in case of illness or a serious damage of the vehicle, and one is allowed to stop on the emergency lane. That means you leave the other lanes for other cars to move freely without being let's say a subject of an obstacle to them, for the maximum of 3 hours. But my advice is, if anything happens on motorways, whenever, as soon as you take on the emergency lane, call the police, road police, and explain to them the matter, so they will get to there as soon as possible to give you that cover up, and if necessary they will call the ambulance. Chiedere o concedere passaggi anche nelle aree di servizio. To ask for or to give pickup to other people is completely forbidden on motorways, even in the service areas, whereby you will have fueling station, a bar, and toilets, and other stuffs. Trainare altri veicoli, tranne I rimorchi. You cannot tow vehicles. That means you cannot attach other vehicles with cord, either cables or any other form to draw them. You don't draw them. If you find a damaged vehicle, call let's say the police or people that are responsible for the rescue on motorways, but you cannot and you should never try it. Ok, usare i proiettori a luci abbaglianti nelle aree di servizio e nei tratti previsti di illuminazione. You cannot use full lights or dazzling lights, okay, even at the service areas, or even if at all it is an area of that road where illuminations are not functioning, or they are not even available there. So you maintain the lower lights whenever you are driving on motorways. Gareggiare in velocità. You don't compete on motorways with high speeds. Svolgere attività di vendita o di propaganda. You don't go to motorways to sell things or to do a propaganda like demonstrations and stuff like that. Let's take a short view of this video. It will show us first the acceleration lanes and second acceleration lanes, and what it means overlapping intersection. Like these are junctions where you have one road under or lanes or whatever, and you have another road up or either below or higher than the normal one. Let's take a look. Okay, this is what we call the acceleration lanes, and this is what we meant overlapping junction. Okay, and this other lane exactly here is what we mean acceleration lanes, and the lane that is found at his right at that moment when the video stopped was an emergency lane. That is an emergency lane. If you see, there is a continued lane, road lane, wide lane, and at the left side you have two other lanes separated by a let's say dash lanes, and in the middle you have two continuous lanes. Maybe it could be a traffic island in metal form, but we cannot see as the view is from the upper area. Now let's look at the questions that we might find during the exam, and they are true. This is perciò that is vero. V. Le strade extraurbane principali sono a carreggiate separate. That is true, because it says extraurban roads are could be or are separated roadways. Yes, they must be separated. Every direction should have at least two lanes, and either independent or being separated from the other lane or other road with a traffic island. So it's true, they are separated roadways. Le strade extraurbane principali sono dotate di apposite aree di sosta. Extraurban roads have let's say stopping areas. That is true. You see an enlargement in a rectangular form. No, it is not a rectangular, because it is either a rectangle or I don't know, semi-rectangle or pentagon, semi-pentagon or hexagon, something like that. I cannot remember well, but you will find an enlargement of that could be of 40 to 50 meters long. It depends on the road, the size of the road, and whereby vehicles could stop in case of illness or damage on vehicle. So it's true, you'll find stopping areas. La strada extraurbana principale non ha incroci a raso che la attraversano. It doesn't have junctions or intersection on the same level. Okay, anytime you found an intersection, it will be as we saw in the video. Le strade extraurbane principali sono segnalate da cartelli stradali di inizio e di fine. Extraurban roads are indicated with signpost with from the starting to the ending. Nelle strade extraurbane principali possono circolare solo alcune categorie di veicoli a motore. Only certain categories of vehicles could ply on extraurban road. We said vehicles that cannot obtain a certain speed limit cannot be driven there, cannot be driven on those kind of roads because they are usually high-speed roads. Nelle strade extraurbane principali si possono trovare intersezioni o incroci a livelli sfalsati. You could find intersections, overlapping intersections on extraurban roads. That is true. Le strade extraurbane principali sono previste di corsie di accelerazione e per l'ingresso. There you will find an acceleration lanes on strade extraurban roads for the incoming vehicles. L'autostrada non ha incroci a raso che la attraversano. Motorways doesn't have junctions on the same level as we usually found on traffic lights to cross them. No, you will either find them overlapping, or you will never find them on autostrada, on the motorways. L'autostrada è dotata di speciali cartelli per l'ingresso e l'uscita, speciali corsie per l'ingresso e l'uscita dei veicoli. You will find special lanes for the exiting and the incoming vehicles. L'autostrada è a carreggiate indipendenti o separate dal parte traffico. When you hear about motorways, they will either be independent roadways or either being separated from the other roadway with a traffic island. That is true. Motocicli con cilindrata di almeno 150 cm3 possono circolare in autostrada. Motorcycles with at least 150 m3 can be driven on motorways. That is true. These are machines that will usually reach at least 180 on upwards the speed limit, kilometers per hour. Non tutti, no, le macchine agricole non possono circolare in autostrada. Agricultural machines like tractors cannot be taken to motorways. That is true. Non tutti i tipi di veicoli possono circolare in autostrada. Not all the types of vehicles could be driven on motorways. That is true. These are high-speed lanes, so if a particular vehicle cannot be driven to a certain speed, cannot be driven there. Ok, l'autostrada deve essere lateralmente recintata. It should be laterally fenced. That is true. Okay, let's look at questions that are false. The first one says, sulle strade extraurbane principali è consentito circolare alla velocità massima di 130 km per ora. It says on extraurban roads, speed limits, vehicles can be driven at a speed of up to 130 km per hour. Be careful, extraurban roads are different from motorways. On extraurban road, you could drive up to 110 km per hour, but not beyond. So that's why this other question is wrong. Le strade extraurbane principali sono contraddistinte da segnaletiche verde. Extraurban roads are usually signaled with a signpost, with a green signpost. That is not true. Well, you find green boards only on motorways. On strade extraurban roads, you will only find blue boards. So being it green in this question, that is what makes it wrong. Le strade extraurbane principali possono essere a unica carreggiata. you could find only one roadway on Extraurbane road. That is not true. You will either find two roadways being separated by a traffic island or an independent roadway. When we say carreggiata, this is what we mean. Where this vehicle is, and the vehicle 1 and vehicle 2, these are two roadways. This is what we mean roadways. Ok. Sulle strade extraurbane è consentito circolare alla stessa velocità massima prevista per l'autostrada. On extraurban roads, it is accepted to drive at the same speed as on motorways. That is false. On extraurban roads, you could only drive up to 110 kilometers per hour, whilst on autostrada motorways up to 130 km per hour maximum. Sulle strade extraurbane principali i quadricicli leggeri possono transitare. Quadricycles, light quadricycles can be driven on extraurban road. We said that is false. We read it before getting to the questions. They must have at least a speed of at least 80 km per hour. Le strade extraurbane principali hanno una sola corsia per ogni senso di marcia. At every direction, on extraurban roads, they will have only one lane. That is false. It must have at least two lanes. One that will be found on the far right would be used for overtaking, so passing, and the other one, the right side will be used for normal traveling. Sulle strade extraurbane principali i ciclomotori possono transitare. On extraurban roads, motorcycles can be driving there. No, we said they must be at least 150 meter cubes of cylinder. That will be at least 80 to 90 km per hour speed. Nelle strade extraurbane principali non vi sono curve né dossi. It says there are no bendings or, let's say, upliftings. That means when you get to an extraurban road, it is straight forward. You will never have bendings. So that is false. Le strade extraurbane principali devono essere dotate di pannelli a messaggio variabili. You will usually find signboards with different messages. That is not true. Nelle strade extraurbane, di force autostrada, nelle autostrade possono circolare solo le autovetture. Only motor vehicles, light vehicles could be driven there. This means trucks and other big vehicles cannot be driven on motorways, and that is false. Nelle autostrade possono circolare tutti i tipi di motocicli. All the types of motorcycles can be driven on motorways. That is false. They must reach at least a speed of 80 km per hour. L'autostrada può comprendere piste ciclabili. You will find let's say piste ciclabili. I don't remember. Let's say a way for bicycles. You cannot find bicycle ways for bicycle, lanes for bicycle on motorcycle. Even let's say scooters or even motorcycles that are not up to 180 kilometers, that cannot be driven at a speed of 80 kilometers per hour, cannot be taken to motorways, neither to talk of bicycles. So that is false. Nelle autostrade possono circolare i motocicli e i ciclomotori e i motocicli con cilindrata fino a 125 centimetri cubi. Motorcycles that are up to 125 centimeter cubes can be taken to motorways. That is false. We said at least 150 centimeter cubes that will reach at a speed of 80 to 90 kilometer or beyond per hour. Nelle autostrade possono circolare solo gli autoveicoli, only motor vehicles, only vehicles, light vehicles could be driving on motorways. That is false. Trucks and other kind of vehicles that can obtain a speed of 80 kilometers per hour can be driven there. Nelle autostrade, this is the last question, possono circolare tutti I motocicli e ciclomotori. That is false. All the kind of motorcycles can be driven on autostrada. We said no, only those that can obtain a maximum speed of at least a minimum speed of 180 kilometers per hour. So I will leave you here with that, and thank you till we meet again. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to the channel. And thank you once again from Dabo Jula Patente. Have a blessed evening.